Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. Our mission is to see a world well led. And our strategy to get there? To empower leaders like you to lead every day. So let's get to work.
Here we go, new week. I'm excited about
new
this.
fundamental.
New fundamental as well. We've been talking the fundamentals of leadership, which are fun. They're really the blocking and tackling of what we do as leaders, and we're trying to help you lead better. I mean, we want everybody to have a great
Help
leader.
them lead every day.
And we want to help people lead every day. So fundamental number one was to see the future. Today we're jumping into a new one, as you said, to engage and develop others, and this is going to be a fun topic today.
It is. There is a global pandemic, if you will. I hope it's not too soon to use that word, because I think it's appropriate here when you look at the engagement of the global workforce. Whether it's Gallup or Marcus Buckingham and ADP, the current data is that somewhere between 75 and 85% of the global workforce is not engaged at work. Imagine the lost human capital, the energy, the creativity, the discretionary effort. You know, you get zero discretionary effort from somebody who's not engaged.
Yeah.
Think about the cost, not just
Not
to
to
the
mention,
organizations,
I was going to say, not to mention the trillions,
the cost to the planet,
profits
and the cost to the people
Yeah.
who are going to work every day and they don't care. We need to help leaders address this topic.
We really do. You do not want to be a person who goes to work every day and doesn't care about what you're doing. And the truth is, if you're a leader and you're allowing that to happen, I would say that's on you. This engagement issue is a leadership issue. It's incredible how we would allow 70% of our people to come through the doors every day and not really give a rip about what they should be caring about. We can't let that happen.
And let me say, just to build on what you just said, these numbers are produced by these organizations and other thought leaders, typically on an annual basis. They'll do a study of the planet, and they come back and share their numbers. And inevitably, there'll be news stories, podcasts, articles on the internet talking about, wow, look at the sorry state of the American worker.
Yeah.
And I say, no. It's not an indictment on the workers. It's an indictment on us as leaders. Engagement does not have to be low. I've had the privilege to work in an organization for decades where engagement skyrockets compared to those numbers.
Yeah.
We're talking 4 times the norm, the averages. You know, engagement scores in the 80s and 90s for decades. You do not have to have a workforce that's disengaged.
Yeah, and you mentioned the American workforce. The numbers globally are even worse. There are even more people disengaged around the world. It's pretty staggering when you think about it. You do not want your people to come, again, as I said, and go through the motions. We're going to talk about that this week. When I think about engagement, sometimes I always think back to the time that I got engaged to my wife. You know, go all the way back to, it's been a while now, almost 4 decades ago. But I learned very early on, she didn't want me to be engaged just on the day we got engaged. I mean, she wanted me to, and I was thinking, do I have to just stay engaged until the wedding day? You don't think that way. She's really expecting me to still be fully engaged. You've been married more than 40 years, but we've been married almost 40 years, and so we're still trying. But I can tell you this, the longer you go, the harder it is to have that feeling. You know, like when remember when you were dating Donna, you know, you go back all the way in the day, it's like you're closing down restaurants and running up phone bills. We were, kind of long distance back then. We didn't have cell phones. We were running up a calling card or whatever. You have to Google that if you're young. But I think that feeling there of engagement, when things are new, it's easy to be engaged. You take a new job, a new position, there's this excitement phase. Everybody's fired up. But you get into the mundane part. We talk about that sometimes. You get into the mundane middle of your career or your team's, function, whatever's going on. It's hard to keep that engagement unless you have some strategies to do that. And we're going to talk about that some this week.
Strategies are later this week. I want to pick up on a couple things you said. First, just a quick sidebar. It's fun that you mentioned our engagement, to be married. I had the privilege decades ago to share this content in Africa. And you were with me on that
I
trip.
think so, yeah.
I think we did that together I'm having a flashback.
We were in Kenya, I think.
We were in Kenya and had a room with a couple hundred leaders. And I don't know if you ever got this feedback, But there was something about the term engagement that didn't translate really well in Swahili. And many folks thought that we had spent that entire session talking about marriage. So I want to be careful for our international
That's
audience.
right. That's good.
Which leads me to, I want to share.
I don't know that this is being translated into Swahili, though. Maybe it is.
Well,
that'd be great
who
if
knows
it is.
who's watching this content. So I want to clarify, and let's demystify, because when our team did this work, one of the things we discovered is there were a lot of very academic, theoretical, and probably accurate at some level, but they were not definitions of engagement that a leader could easily approach and apply. And so when we did this work, this was several years back, we said that we wanted to define engagement is how much someone cares, deeply cares, genuinely cares about their work, their coworkers, their customers, and their organization.
Yeah.
So that's the question we want to grapple with over these next few days. How do we as leaders help people raise how much they care?
Yeah, and Mark, you've challenged me to this is about selection, maybe even more about selection than we even realize.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna build engagement, it really starts with who you select and how you select them. Can you give us a couple thoughts on that?
It does start with selection, but even in the next few days, we're going to talk about the other part of engagement, which I just defined.
Yeah, that's right.
But you begin that journey by getting the people on the team who are more likely to be engaged,
to want to lean in.
They want. So I'll give you one. I say it's a fun story. It's a bizarre story. So you can interpret it as you choose. One of our Chick-fil-A operators years ago had a core value around the importance and priority of the customer, which wouldn't surprise you. Of course, we're in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
And so this was a forward-thinking operator. So he always built his interview questions to probe the resonance of the person, because if somebody doesn't connect with your core values, it's going to be real hard for them to succeed.
Yeah.
But it's going to be hard for them to be engaged if they don't fundamentally believe in what you're trying to do.
Especially if there's an incongruence at selection.
Right. And so the operator shared this story. He met with an amazing candidate, and he said he was predisposed. I mean, bright, articulate, great presence. I mean, he felt like this was the guy he wanted to add to his team. And he said, you know, you've said a little bit about your past job. And the guy said, yeah, and, you know, I love this and I love that. The operator said, was there anything you didn't like about your previous job? He said, yeah, man, there was just one thing. The operator said, what's that? He said, I hated the customers. He said, it'd have been a great place to work if we didn't have any customers. Now, the operator kept a straight face, but in his infinite wisdom, he didn't select that guy.
Right, this is not going to be
his first core values around the customer, and here's a guy sitting
service
across the
business,
table going, it'd be a great place to work without customers.
Yeah.
See, that was a win for engagement. Not for that guy. He can go work somewhere else and destroy customer experience.
But if he hadn't had this thought,
but it was a win for that
side,
operator because he's trying to bring people in who are predisposed to align with the aspiration and the culture that he was trying to build. Yeah. So selection does matter. But I think for most of the folks listening, you're already working on selection.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
we're going to do entire episodes on that later.
That's right.
But for the rest of this week, let's talk about how you help people care more.
Yeah, that's great. How to engage and develop the people. It is a fundamental of leadership. We are going to dive into that this week. I'm excited about that. So as you think about your own business, your own team, what you have going on, maybe it's a school or you're an administrator, maybe you're a coach in the sports arena. You've got people that you're trying to raise this level of engagement. How amazing would it be if you could get a 70% increase on your number? In other words, if you're like the average American business or team, it's about 30% of your people really are giving effort. They care. They're coming in. They're really laying it on the line for you. If you could push that up, maybe you don't have to get to 100. What if you could just double the engagement?
Yeah, what if you got it to 60?
It'd be incredible.
6 out of 10 people
It would
care.
be amazing.
You can do this.
You can do this. We're going to try to help you these next few days That's what Uncommon Greatness is about. It's unpacking these fundamentals. And for anybody who does not have a point of view on leadership, you don't have a strategic way that you're developing the leaders in the organization, a way to talk about it. And if you've not thought about this, you probably don't have a strategic way. It's just sporadic at best. Uncommon Greatness is going to give you that. Mark's new book's coming out February 27th. We told you about the bundles last week. I'll mention them again here. We've got a digital bundle and a physical bundle. You can get the digital products, the book, the field guide, the quick start guide. Mark's done a 25-part course. It's amazing. And I think it's over $350 value, this whole thing. And we've got that digital bundle available on the website for $89. And then the physical is for $129. You can actually have the printed resources, share those with your team. It'll be great. I hope you'll take advantage of that if you've not done so. Hope you'll also join us the rest of this week. We're going to dive into how you engage and develop the people around you. It really might be your greatest competitive advantage if you can get your people leaned in. We hope you'll come back tomorrow. Remember, the best leaders lead every day.